Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Private Plays YouTube channel. Today is Sunday, September 8th, and I'm back with a fully loaded Sunday slate of games in the NFL for week number one. I'm going to be breaking down a total of 5 games today. I'm going to have a graphic up for 3 of those games, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the other 2 games towards the end of the video. I'm also going to have you breaking down the 3 best player props of the day that I think could very easily cash in the first couple drives for us. We have a total of 8 plays for this Sunday. Hope everybody enjoys their Sunday, and let's break down some ball. All right, guys, getting this graphic recap from Friday night. Pretty entertaining game in Brazil. More like a slip and slide for the first half that I saw. But Eagles, they come away with it. Both teams didn't look great. Jordan Love injury doesn't look like it was too severe. 3 or 4 weeks with an MCL. Thought it was going to be an ACL, but good thing he's not out for the season. They would have wasted 55 mil this year. Eagles might soon have to get it done. Saquon Barkley, unbelievable. Going to be a problem as a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's on the Eagles now, so that's going to be a problem. Over 61.5 cashed very easily. Then Christian Watson over 37.5. I think he only caught 2 balls, or maybe he was, I think he was targeted 4 or 5 times, but I think he only caught 2 balls. Packers took a lot of deep shots, none of them to Christian Watson, though. So we will take the 2-1 day. Here's an updated leaderboard from Thursday night and Friday night. 4-2 start, pretty good start on the player props. 1-1 the game picks. We will take that, and we were really just a big toe away from the Ravens for being 2-0 in the game picks as well. So let's try to get somewhat of a sweep today. I think if we get a 4-1 day on the game picks, I'll be very happy. 3-0 on the player props. I think I've got really good player props today. Let's take a look at week number 1. We're going to start with the Jags traveling to take on Miami. This is a perfect weather game to take Miami minus 3.5. I know that the Jags, they like the heat as well, but nobody plays better in perfect weather, hot weather, than the Miami Dolphins. If we take a look at these teams, they're pretty different because the Jaguars last season, they just really couldn't get anything going last year. They went 9-8. They really were really good in the first 8 games. They started 6-2, but they struggled in the second half, missing the playoffs. But they're bringing back a lot of their key pieces from last year. They're going to have Trevor Lawrence back under center. He got paid. Not entirely sure if Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback in the NFL. I think he's been okay. I don't think he's been great. They really need him to be fantastic this season for them because he's been having these seasons of throwing 3,000 to 4,000 yards. But I feel like the turnovers, they've been a real problem for him. The backfield looks good again. They've got ETN back there still. They did lose Calvin Ridley. They brought in Gabe Davis, and Christian Kirk is still there as well. So the wide receiver core is all right. The defense got a really big shakeup, but they brought in a whole lot of new faces. But last season, this team, they only scored 22 points per game. That's not going to get it done going in against Miami. We all remember the ice cold bowl, the frozen field of Kansas City last year for Miami. That's where they got bounced out of the playoffs. This time they get some nice sunny weather on a field where there's not going to be anybody slipping. Everybody knows that Tua loves to play in the sun as well. He got paid this offseason. Well deserved, I think. The Dolphins defense, they were okay at best last year. They're going to be without Bradley Chubb in this one, still on the IR. They got a really happy Jalen Ramsey, the highest paid core in the NFL. They also brought in Kendall Fuller this offseason. I think Miami's going to be a really good team. They scored nearly 30 points per game last year. I think they can score 30 points again this year per game. I'm going to take them here. Minus 3.5 is the first play. For the next play, you better prepare yourselves because I like the Denver Broncos this season. I'm extremely high on the Broncos. The only reason I'm extremely high on them is because Bo Nix is at the quarterback. I'm taking the Broncos in this game with the points. I think they can be dynamic on the offensive side. The defense, they've had their problems over the last 2 seasons, but I really think this O is going to be able to keep them in games. There's no more Russell Wilson. Sean Payton, the second-year head coach, decided to go with Bo Nix as the starting quarterback instead of Zach Wilson. He's also one of the team captains this year, so pretty high praise out of Sean Payton for Bo Nix already. I do think the defense is going to be a little bit better. They've got a really happy Patrick Surtain, $96 million contract extension for him. He's a lockdown quarter. Nobody's going to be throwing in his direction. If Gino does go to him, he's going to get picked off. Broncos, they also have a really good linebacker, Alex Singleton. He's going to be back on the team. He led them last season, I believe, 180-something tackles, maybe 170-something tackles. But I really think the fresh start here, no Wilson, new quarterback, I think they're going to be just fine. For the Seahawks, they are looking for Geno Smith to make another big leap this season. He was okay last year, but they need better Geno Smith this year. He's got a lot of options at the receiver spot. DK Metcalf, he's a freak. Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Najigba, the second-year wide receiver out of Ohio State. Seattle, they don't have Bobby Wagner anymore. They don't have Diggs anymore in the secondary. I like this to be a competitive game. I think people are down on Denver. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too nice to them because I love Bo Nix so much, but there is a possibility that I watch this game and I realize that Bo Nix doesn't have his Oregon teammates around him to make him look that good, but I thought he looked good in the preseason. I think he's going to be good this season. I'm going to plug my nose here and take the Broncos +6 as the second play of the day. For the third play today, I thought I'd give you guys something to watch on Sunday Night Football. Detroit Lions going up against the Rams. I'm going to take the over, 51.5 points. I think this one's going to fly over the total. We've got 2 teams that are very good at pushing the ball down the field in a dome for game number 1. We have Jared Goff for the Lions, Matthew Stafford for the Rams. and both these guys have all kinds of targets to throw to. Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we've got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua on the other side for the Rams. I think it's worth a look as well for both of these guys to win the MVP. I saw something that Jared Goff has 14 games this season inside of a dome. I also think Matthew Stafford, I know he's a household name, but I feel like he's getting disrespected a little bit this season. He's a guy who's still top 10 in the football this season at the quarterback position, in my opinion. I think both these guys are definitely worth a look at the MVP, and we're going to go off the numbers from last season. The Lions, they were not a very good team in the secondary, especially. I felt like every game the Lions were in, they had to score a ton of points and able to come away with a win, and they did do that a lot with Jared Goff and company. But we did have Dave Montgomery in the backfield last season. He's the bruiser. Jahmyr Gibbs is more of the elusive guy in this offense. But both of these teams, they put up big point totals. Last year they did it. I think this year they're going to do the exact same thing. I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm going to take the over. Even though it's week number 1, I think these teams are going to score a lot of points. Over 51.5 points as the play. Let's go over to the player props. These player props are not going to be too long because we've got nothing to go off of. I can go off the numbers from last season, but this is not last season. Teams, they have mixed it up a little bit. I have no idea what they're going to look like. So until we see these teams play, I'm just going to go off of my gut instincts right now. We're going to start with the Bears going up against the Titans. I have been back and forth about Caleb Williams. I thought he was bad at USC. I didn't think he was a very good leader. The play, obviously really good. Leadership, not so much. He's kind of changed my mind over the last 3 months. I think he's going to be a really good option for the Bears. The closest thing we've seen to Patrick Mahomes skill-wise over the last several years. He just has something about him. Big play energy. He's just something about him. Every play you can find a way to make a big play. I do think he's going to be good in the NFL this season. I think the Bears are going to make the playoffs this year, and they're going to get some help out of Roma Dunze this season. I'm going to take him as the play here, over 41.5 receiving yards. The Titans last season, they were not great at stopping anybody in the secondary. And we have the kid from Washington going to play with the guy from USC here. These guys were competitors last season. They're on the same team this season, and both of them were playmakers in college. I think we're going to see at least one big connection in this game for these guys. It might just take one catch for him to go over 41.5 yards. So that's going to be the first play here. Roma Dunze over his total receiving yards there. Let's go to the second play of the day. We're going to be looking at David Montgomery. I already touched on him a little bit in that Lions and Rams game to go over. Dan Campbell, he loves David Montgomery. He's everything that Dan Campbell likes in a running back. He's tough. He's got grit. He'll put his head down. He'll run through a wall to get you that one extra yard. Last season, David Montgomery finished with 13 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. If you remember that game against the Chiefs in week number 1, he was the workhorse. 21 carries, 74 yards. He had a rushing touchdown in that game to open up the year last year. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's dealing with some injuries. I think he's going to be okay in this game, but they might have him on a little bit of a snap count. Make sure they're not hurt him for the rest of the season. But I like Dave Montgomery here. Dan Campbell is a Dave Montgomery guy, so I think he's going to get some red zone touches in what I think is going to be a high-scoring game. So let's take him over 0.5 touchdowns as the play. Anytime touchdown there. For the last player prop today, we're going to be looking at the Buffalo Bills going up against the Cardinals, another rookie receiver. I think what's happening here is that I love college football so much. They're just now transferring over to the NFL. Probably not the smartest decision by myself, but I remember watching Coleman. I remember watching Bo Nix for Oregon. I remember watching Roma Dunze for Washington. And now I just want to take them in everything I see. They are good college players. I think they're going to be good in the NFL. And really, to be completely honest, most of the time, that's not the case. It is extremely tough in the NFL for a lot of these guys. But I'm going to take Coleman in this game for the Buffalo Bills. Over 30.5 receiving yards. I do think he's going to be on the field quite a bit because the Buffalo Bills, they lost basically the entire receiving corps with Stephon Diggs gone. Gabe Davis left. It looks like it's going to be Khalil Shakir and then maybe Curtis Samuel in the 2 or the 3. Maybe they put him in the slot and then Keon Coleman at the 2. So in a couple weeks, this guy might be the number 1 in this system with Josh Allen throwing on the ball. The Cardinals last year, they got destroyed on the ground. They got destroyed through the air. They weren't very good defensively at anything. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game as well. I'm going to break it down a little bit, but I like the wide receiver here, Keon Coleman. Over 30.5 yards doesn't seem like a lot. This is another one that we could get a one-catch kind of thing, and it's over. So I like him here, over 30.5 receiving yards. Let's take a look at the graphic. We've got 2 more plays we're going to be breaking down. Last time I checked, the Patriots, they were plus 8.5, and we're going to take them in this game and run with it. I know Patriots, they stink. They're going to stink. There's a very good chance that this number comes down a little bit because the Bengals, they might not have Jamar Chase. They might not have Higgins. They might not have either of them. I've got to imagine that the Bengals tomorrow, if this gets down to minus 6.5, there's going to be a ton of bets on the minus 6.5. That's going to be the most bet game by a wide margin. There's going to be all kinds of public money on that play. And if there's one thing that we learned last season from the NFL, it's that sharp money is usually right money. The public, they lose a ton on the NFL. So I'm going to take the Patriots here plus 8.5 right now. I'm going to take it whatever it comes out in the morning on Sunday. This game does stink. I'll give you that. I have to hold my nose whenever I place this bet tomorrow. But the Patriots defense, They're good. They were good last season. They're going to be good this season. The offense clearly has some problems. I'll give you that, but it's not going to be Drake May out there. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett. I think he can get us a couple wins. I think Jacoby Brissett is a decent backup quarterback. He's going to start in this game. He's good enough in this one with the points to compete with the Bengals, who might not have the two-star receivers out there. I'm going to take the points here as the play, and it's going to be all against the public. So I love that as well. For the other play, we're going to be talking about Buffalo going up against the Cardinals. I'm taking the over 47.5 points. I think Arizona's going to be better this season. Kyler Murray, he is fully healthy once again. I do think he can be good on that side of the ball, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in. That gives him another weapon to look at on the outside. And I do think they can score some points on this Bills defense, who was not very good last season. The Bills, they lost all the receivers, basically. They did draft a wide receiver in Coleman, who we were talking about in that player prop. But the Cardinals defense last season, they were bad. And I do think, once again, James Cook is going to be a monster on the ground for Buffalo. I think he's going to have himself a really good game here. Two dynamic quarterbacks as well. Running with the ball on third downs, that could create a lot of extra first downs. Keep the drives moving here. I like both of these teams to put up some numbers on the defenses. Over 47.5 points as that play there. Let's take a look at all the plays here. Miami minus 3.5 against the Jags. Broncos plus 6 versus Seattle. Lions versus Rams over 51.5 points. Pats plus 8.5. That one might change depending on the news Sunday morning. And then Cardinals Bills over 47.5 points. 3 player props. Rome Odunze over 41.5. Dave Montgomery anytime touchdown against the Rams. And then Keon Coleman over 30.5 yards going up against the Cardinals. Guys, that's going to do it for the NFL plays and props for Sunday, September 8th slated games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please sure drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.